Hi everyone, welcome to the £5 Main Event Podcast. My name is Matthew McAloon, I'm your host. And before we get to today's show, we're going to take a look back on the event that just passed. Fight Island, Michael Chiesa versus Neil Magny. And obviously the point of the show is that we put a playful bet on, myself and the guest. And it will come as no surprise that neither my previous guest Julian or I won on our bets. We went pretty big. We tried to make a card that looked a little bit middle of the road, more exciting. And that's the wrong way to bet, as it turns out. So potential returns of between £1,500 and £12,000 in Julian's case. It did indicate that that might be optimistic, and that's exactly how it played out. Got a few fights down correctly, which I'm always happy with. But it would be nice to bring home the bacon. So today we've got Bryan Lacey, who's an MMA broadcaster by profession, a stand-up comedian. So I'm hoping that he could be that big winner for us. He, not to spoil the show, he's been very adventurous. He took it to heart. He was going to have to make a pick on every fight, and he did that. So I've taken a more sort of reined-in approach this time round. So you'll hear. But enjoy the show. Make sure to follow myself, Matthew McAloon, on Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast. We've got Brian on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So yeah, check us out. Let us know what you think. Keep the conversation going. But most importantly, just enjoy the show. Thanks very much. I'm going to use that for the video podcast because right now I'm with our guest, Bryan Lacey. Bryan, how are you?
I'm very well. Nice to join you. Thank you for having me on this this big money win. This could change everything. Lockdown's been difficult. A lot's resting on this. I'm telling you this right now, mate.
No, this is what I'm hoping is like a retirement fund for people I respect. And as a comedian and MMA broadcaster, there's no finer idea of a guest for this show. So if
you just broke the news to me. I'm a retired comedian, as far as Facebook seems. That's a shock to me as well. I'm my family, but there's no comedy left in the world, so it's fine.
That is, yeah, we discovered that Bryan and I met probably about 4 years ago at Comedia, yeah. One of the Comedia in Brighton, great comedy club, and sort of quickly figured out that we both were into MMA, and at that point you were doing your own podcast, the Stand-Ups Throwdown. Is that right? Yeah, correct. That was my first iTunes appearance. So
nice. There you go.
This is all your fault, Bryan. Where we're at right now. But obviously since then, you are still a comedian. Can we confirm that if I was to offer you one of my many lucrative gigs, that you'd be on that?
The only gig I would take right now is one of yours, just because when I did the one at the was it Shoreditch
in Queen of Hoxton?
Yeah, really good gig, and the intro was something that I wasn't expecting, and you sort of was staring at me, waiting for me to go on. And who introduces you on stage? None other than the Buffer himself. Amazing.
Cost me a whopping $80 to get, and one back and forth where I actually had to. For anyone, I'm sure everyone knows at this point that Bruce Buffer is on Cameo, but before Cameo, you just asked Bruce Buffer through his email. So I just emailed Bruce Buffer and was like, Bruce, could you do me an intro? And one of his people came back and said, Bruce wants to know how many times you're going to use this. So obviously I said once, never again, only the once. So they're like, yeah, it's $80. Send us the script and any audio steers. So I just sent it in because I'm still at this point I would have been, say, 30 years old. At that point, I still hadn't realized I have a tricky surname. So McAloon, to me, it's like, oh yeah, McAloon, no problem. I know loads of them. And Bruce had never met a McAloon before and never said the name. So I had to send over an audio note to Bruce Buffer's people to say it's actually pronounced McAloon. And it's like, it's just Mac-A-Loon. It's as good as that. It's like, so thank you, big fan, stop. So then when it sent it back over, it was Bruce Buffer, and it was like, Matthew McAloon. I was like, yeah, that'll do. I'll take that. He was taking no chances. But yeah, so I'm all about the pomp and circumstance,
It was good. It was, and I'm very honored that I was at that one gig, the only gig that you ever used that audio for. I feel very lucky that was the coincidence that happened.
It was, I really had to decide, when am I going to cash this in?
Yeah.
and that was the one, and it's never been heard since.
All six
any
people
gig.
in the audience went wild for it as well. That was the other thing. There are a lot of MMA fans in that gig.
That's what sold it. Luckily it was £300 a ticket, so we still broke even after your fee, but all good. So yeah, but like not only is it great just to get together and talk fighting with you, we also have probably the fight card. Like, is it too early to say the fight card of the year? Like, is this one?
Listen,
How
it's
do we
got a
top
hell of
this?
it's got a hell of a show to follow as far as the Max Holloway main event from the one before the last one. But they did the right thing. They really dipped the middle card with as
Yeah,
far as the bookings, so that they could build this up again. But no, when you said are you available for this one, I felt very special because it's McGregor. There's just every time he's on a card, it's just it's a different experience. It's the only time my mother-in-law sends me a message to ask
yeah.
me, is that Irishman fighting again this weekend? Yep.
Is he not in
Is he
prison?
good? Is he not in prison? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he done this time? Yeah.
That's the thing.
No,
Like,
it's good.
it gets difficult for me, like being Irish, because it's almost like when we're excited about it, it's like, oh, well, of course you are, and the, they don't know.
When
It's like,
one goes to war, you all go to
well,
war. That's it, isn't it?
and he's done everything possible to alienate us. And any rational person would be like, I can't support this guy against Dustin Poirier, who is a great family man, a fantastic fighter, the stuff he does for charity. But still, like, that part of me is like, Conor McGregor, though. Like, he's doing it for all of us, And previously, like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this fight, but previously the Conor fights, when he was on the rise and the Eddie Alvarez thing, I walked differently when in the build up. Like, I was like, like he
an inch taller
affected us. And now it's like you don't want to admit that, but like that was powerful. I still like watch back press conferences and stuff, and I've watched that Eddie Alvarez fight about 16 times.
Yeah.
Just I've got like 10 minutes to kill. It's like, yeah, I'll watch this.
Again.
Yeah, again. Yeah. And I'll critique what Eddie should have done because, like, Eddie, come on, Mark Henry's good, but you want to bring me in. If there's ever a rematch, you need to bring in the boy, But should we start at the with the main event and just work our way down
start
through the
there?
card?
Yeah, absolutely.
But also one thing that yesterday there was the dip in name value for that card. And just to catch you up, Brian, obviously we're going to put your bet on later against mine. We've had a total of 0 wins so far. And
Okay.
that won't surprise you because each bet has been a 6-fold accumulator.
Wow.
Not just who will win, but everyone's been getting fancy and trying to pick how they'll win. And Julian Dean, we were doing the bet, and when I told him the odds, like just throw out a few different ones, Julian made the classic mistake that all bookies hope you will when he heard that the odds were better for what was clearly an event that was never going to happen, a 3rd round TKO. He was like, oh, 9-1. Oh, put that in for me.
Stick me on that.
So I'm going to rein myself in a little bit for this one.
I will say though, yesterday there was it wasn't the best card, but with the UK fighters were awesome. So Mason Jones from Wales, he lost, but I thought he was amazing. Like, how tough is that kid? And
unreal.
You could see that the speed against the guy he was up against he had a big speed disadvantage. Just swallowed everything he threw and kept coming. Lerone Murphy is special. Lerone Murphy will have a belt round his waist at some point. He's just phenomenal, athletic, tough. And even Tom Breeze, I thought the grappling exchanges with Tom Breeze, and who did he fight? His opponent. It was just great. He lost the fight, but Breeze is a good sign. I thought that the UK fights were very, very special as far as what we put in the cage.
Mason Jones, for me, that's a tough one to beat. That reminded me of like Justin Gaethje, Michael Johnson, in terms of how are both of these guys still standing? And they're like good one. It's like, what?
High
like,
five! Yeah.
Oh, you really got me.
Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, he looks great. Obviously, another double champ from Cage Warriors, which they mentioned it in the broadcast that Dan Hardy and Conor McGregor are the only two that have that came into UFC. So that's that's good company to be in. But the thing that surprised me about him is he doesn't even look ripped at 155. So you look at him, and I would never encourage anybody to cut weight, but you go, could he get to 145? So the fact that he went up to welterweight just because there was nothing for him at 155, and he was so confident he was going to get into the UFC anyway, he just wanted to challenge. Like, okay, this is the sort of fighter that Dana is going to be all over. Like, he'll get pushed to the moon.
Yeah, hopefully
Fights
it's
like
fun.
that.
Yeah, fun to watch. And if you watch the Adam Proctor, and Proctor's tough and he's huge, and he murked Adam Proctor. I'm a big fan of Proctor. I love the gym he comes from. I love his coach. But Mason just showed him no respect, walked forward, and you don't knock Adam Proctor out in one round, and especially coming up a weight. And Mason Jones, he lost last night, but he's got everything he needs to be like one of those real Dana, like you said, Dana White favorite, which is you want that. If you get that shine, you're going to get on some big cards and get some big fights.
Yeah, just whenever they're putting these fight cards together, I imagine it's like when I put these podcasts together and there's post-it notes everywhere, and you think, okay, what are you go, okay, so we got the must fight is in the headliner, and sometimes the headliners are almost for the sake of it fights. They're not always going to be the most exciting. So you need to keep people interested. You need those. You putting a comedy lineup together. You go, right, I need a gag guy who's going to be bump, 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 bring the energy level up. You could put him in there against anyone, and you go, okay, this is going to be the fight that once there are people, bums in seats again. It's like, this is where the bums get out of the seats and go crazy and start turning to their mates and high-fiving. And that guy should have about 2,000 more Instagram followers today.
He'll get there. He'll get there,
checking
without a doubt. Yeah.
But I thought that card did better. It punched above its weight when it came to name value. And even the main event was so interesting to watch because of Michael Chiesa just being so imperious. And like,
his ground game
Magny. I picked Magny thinking he just was good all round, and that Chiesa probably wouldn't be able to sub him and they'd spend a lot of time on the feet, but nope.
It was that difference on the ground. It's those little transitions. It's just little moves, like the way he slid into Mount a couple of times against Magny, who's so tough to get into those positions, and he's just great everywhere. And Chiesa, I thought he'd struggle because it's 5 rounds, and Magny's this cardio machine.
Yeah, but
it was good. It wasn't my obviously. You look at the fight that should have been there, Hamzat Chimaev versus Edwards, and you still want that, but it was a decent showing. And Chiesa. Again, he's one of those that is always up there, but he needs a real big highlight reel finish to really get in that. I think he needs to get in that picture. But I love the call out. Perfect fight. Colby Covington versus him all day long.
Yeah, and I'd be really interested for that fight because you look at what Colby does well, and it's just nonstop. And he's like, you can't keep me down. Yeah, so I can throw these high kicks and stuff, and it doesn't matter. So now we'll find out whether someone can take him down and hold him down. But I don't think Colby will take that
move
fight.
them out of the way. Move them out of the way. Who've we got?
Right. So Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. And we're going to try and limit this one to like 2. Yeah, no. Yeah, sorry, that's the broadcaster in you. You got the full title. So I got to let you take the floor to kick off with your thoughts because I've got a heart attached to this one, so listen, you go ahead. You be that brutal clinical killer of a broadcaster.
Well, listen, for me, there's Conor McGregor. He's just the unicorn of MMA. He disappears off into the distance, and when he reappears, we never know what fights he's going to go for. This surprised me that he went for this one because there were so many options on the table. Poirier is a tough fight. Obviously lost the fight against Khabib, but there is always something special about a McGregor fight. And for me, what has been interesting is we have not had that glimpse into the build-up of this. There's been nothing. We've had these small interviews that he's been doing on Fight Week in his suits, his little videos of him going around in his Rolls Royces, stepping off his massive yacht. But there's been none of the back and forth that there was before in their last fight. It was so gritty before. It was so in your face. There was so much emotion. There's none of that. He's given Dustin $500,000 for his foundation after this. So
and the auction. The auction for the fight kit and everything, yeah.
Oh, is he doing that as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So for me, it's one of those things where there's a mystique always about McGregor. You never know. He always surprised me. He's so good, but you look at his camp and he's not really got the high level people around him. I don't think Gunnar Nelson's been there in his camp No idea where Artem Lobov's been, probably in and out as one of his main training partners, but you just can't discount him. It's so impossible with what he does in the cage, what he did to Cowboy Cerrone. So for me, I just think McGregor makes these special moments. He picks a time. He's very good at doing that. And he's picked Dustin for a reason. So I think McGregor, with the size of him, with the power, with the accuracy, with the time off he's had, will finish Dustin Poirier. But we're talking about betting. This is the £5 main event.
And this is like, because this is where you have to really put your head and heart in different boxes, and we'll talk about it a little bit later with there's certain fights where you almost don't want to break your own heart by betting against someone.
Yeah. But this is the thing, because all that I've said about McGregor, and in my head, I believe he'll win the fight. I think he looks like he's worked a lot on strength. He looks very powerful. He's very strong. And that's the thing with him. If he touches you, you go to sleep. But Dustin Poirier is just this gritty underdog. And there's a chance that this is his best moment, best opportunity to claim that and reclaim. So betting wise, he's the underdog. Betting wise, the odds are much better in favor of Dustin Poirier. So that's where I'm going to stick my bet. I'm not just going to bet on Dustin Poirier. I'm going to bet that he will finish Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll happen, but betting wise, to raise those odds to get the dollar bills flowing, I think Dustin Poirier is an outsider, but it's a good chance.
Yeah, when I look at you think, right, for Dustin to win this fight, what does he need to do? What does he want to do, more importantly? And he just wants to stand and strike and wear people down. He's not interested in taking necks or taking backs or anything like that historically. And then you weigh that up against what Conor wants to do. Conor wants to do his thing against people that want to do that. People that want to come forward, and Conor just wants to pick them off, which is what he's done. And the UFC have done a great job of, if you actually sit and watch the UFC's live, the stuff they do in between is great. It's usually the stuff I skip through because I'm watching it on demand. But the way Conor uses kicks to put people where he wants them to be and steer them around the ring or the cage, my heart and head both say Conor McGregor to finish this fight. But what you say from a betting point of view is it's quite attractive. But I've lost 2 in a row bet wise. And I've called some fights perfectly, other fights completely wrong. So I'm going to go with Conor to finish on this fight. So now we've got competition. What it also means is, as we're watching these fights and we're tracking our bets, it's good if we go in different directions. So early on, if it's like, okay, well, my bet's ruined.
This is MMA. You should never. I don't understand betting very well, but I've seen people bet on it, and there's anything can frigging happen in that cage. It's madness.
Well, Alessio Di Chirico at the weekend, head kick knockout on Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah,
and the odds were 20-21 that Buckley was going to knock him out. So I don't pretend to know anything. I just know that it makes it a little bit more interesting when there's a few pounds on it. But we shall definitely see how this one plays out. And I think I feel fairly confident about the Conor finish. But the classic with Conor is when it goes past the second round, will he still be there?
This is the thing. Can Dustin survive that round, push it further forward? But it's Conor McGregor. This is the beauty. This is why it's so exciting.
So we'll find out. The only shame is that, like I mentioned it in the last podcast, that I was expecting the fans being back to make a bit of a difference, but it's still quite sad to look out there. So have Conor in an empty arena, basically.
I don't think it's going to be empty. I might have had some inside knowledge, my friend. Okay. Maybe. So
the UFC staff will be 15,000 people.
That's right. There's about that many on Yes Island.
Yeah.
But I've heard that they were sort of getting 2,000 in to see how it went with the Holloway. And I think they're going to be pushing 5+ in this arena, possibly, which would be great.
Interesting. Okay. Well, those 5,000 people will be treated to a co-main event that is incredibly intriguing with Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker, because Michael Chandler is almost the best of what MMA used to be, in my opinion. That wrestle boxer, classic.
Yep.
I will throw big winged shots and knock you out, or I will take you down and make you sorry you ever started training. And then you got Dan Hooker, who is like modern MMA. He's
Yeah.
got kind of got everything. You wouldn't really call him a specialist and anything. I think what Dan Hooker has that makes him special is he enjoys hurting people.
Yeah.
He's violent, like he's nasty. He his elbows and his just that. When you see people and they hold people somewhere and it's like knees, throw knees, throw knees. Dan Hooker is throwing knees. You don't have to ask him to do the thing that's sneaky and that hurts people. It's in him already. So I'm really interested in this one. But again, I'll give you the lead in and hear your thoughts.
Well, it's this is exciting because Chandler was sat on the sidelines. He was the sort of the substitute fighter for that Habib Gaethje fight. So he's been out there. He's had a little flavor of the UFC without stepping in that octagon. He's also that much of a veteran that I don't think there's going to be any of these octagon jitters. I don't think you're going to get anything like that out of him. I think he's so seasoned. He does what he does exactly like you said. He's going to wrestle you and he's going to try and just make it gritty and grind you down, try and submit you or knock you out. Against Hooker, who's said my favorite quote on the build up to this. He was asked about what it's like to welcome Chandler to the UFC, and he said the UFC have got a new toy and I'm going to break it. So I was like, yes,
that is the sort of attitude you want from a fighter. It's too many media trained pleasantries for my liking.
Yes.
MMA is the last bastion of people who say mad things and don't care. But once you get to a certain level, you know that they want to appease ESPN and UFC. So sometimes they'll play along. But now Dan Hooker is coming for you.
He's come and he's got a good resume. He's been in there with beasts. He takes damage really well, which is not a great attribute to lean on.
Yeah.
The problem we've got though with this is he's very tall, he's very rangy, and for a wrestler that's short and stocky like Chandler, that's perfect. Yeah. That is perfect. So what I see happening in this one, unfortunately, I'm a huge Dan Hooker fan. I just love his style. I love what he does, how he brings the fight. But I think Chandler's style is just the kryptonite for his physique and for the fact he's going to come forward and try and make it a brawl. And that's perfect for those legs to be taken and taken to the mat. So I've gone with Chandler. And again, I'm going to push it out into a finish because he's got a high finish rate. But I don't know whether it's going to be a sub or a KO. But unfortunately, I think the style of Chandler is going to be too much for Hooker.
Yeah, this is the head versus heart because Dan Hooker, I obviously decided I opted out of my MMA career. I was quite promising. I was a bit of a phenom and didn't go that road. But when I look at Dan Hooker, I'm like, that's what I would look like. Sorry, just for anyone listening, Brian must be laughing at something that happened behind the camera. But
sorry, there's some homeschooling
possibly be laughing at my MMA prowess.
No,
but Dan Hooker's the sort of fighter I would like to be. I want the best for him. You look at the people that he's fought and lost to, he hasn't really come up against that Chandler-esque, but Chandler's fought plenty of strikers. Yeah. And I think he's it's just going to be a bit of a boring one. It'll be exciting because Dan Hooker, when you're watching it live, it'll be exciting, but I don't think anyone will be watching it back. I think it'll be a pretty stereotypical Michael Chandler win. But I might see, this is where I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in my betting. I'm just going to pick Chandler to win and I'm not going to specify decision or finish because we need some points on the board, Brian, and previous guest and myself.
Desperation in your voice. It sounds like you've lost 2 in the UFC and you're fighting for your contract, mate. This is what it sounds like.
Here's the thing. We put a lot of money into, not money, but time into building the webpage in the Hall of Fame. And I haven't got anyone to put in it yet because nobody's won a bet. So,
all right. Well, I'm going to go bet on one fight then. Let's get me in there if there's a chance.
Well, the cash out for £5.5p is like, that's a win. We're up. So we both picked Chandler to win, but you're confident he's going to finish the fight.
I'm not confident.
Yeah.
You're now swaying me. You're making me feel. I just think he's got a high finish rate, so I'm gonna go with a stoppage.
Okay, right. No takesy backsies. That's the way it
No.
is. Interesting.
That's the way it is. It's out there. I'm sticking to it. Yeah. Stick to your guns.
See how firm I am as a host. That's the sort of aggression that would have got me to the top of the MMA ranks. No takesy backsies. The next fight we've got is probably the one that I look at on the main card and think, okay, you're taking advantage of the fact this is a Conor McGregor card and people are going to watch no matter what. Jessica Ai and Jojo Calderwell. This is a fight, and I don't want to steer this podcast.
Is it?
This is a fight. Fight? That's the sort of insight you can expect from the 5 Pound Main Event podcast. So I look at these two fighters and I go, well, here's two people that are never going to be the champ and or should be measuring sticks for people on the rise, and they've put them together. So it's really hard for me to separate them. Jojo wants to fight. She is always touted as this Thai style assassin. I rarely see it. I don't mean to be harsh on anyone because obviously she beat the shit out of me. But and then I look at Jessica Ai and she is MMA 2006.
Yeah.
So I look at them. I think this is just going to be a really not fun to watch stand-up fight. And I don't want to influence your decision making, but I'm not going to bet on this fight because I don't care. But then
we can choose not to bet.
You can not bet. Yeah, it's Brian. It's my show. We'll do what we want. Or you go, this fight, I might just pick it. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. In the interest of the show, I'm going to pick this fight to go to a decision. I think you can make this bet, regardless of who wins it, that it's going to go to a decision because neither of these people are finishing anyone.
Well, I've written down decision and I've scribbled out and put Calderwood, so that shows you how on the fence I'm being. And I don't want people to think that I don't enjoy female MMA. I love it. I absolutely love it. You got Shevchenko, Amanda Nunes. I remember sending my brother a picture of Joanna Jędrzejczyk before and after the whaling fight, and he was like, "What happened? What happened to her? What is that? Was that in a fight? Did it get stopped?" No, it didn't. No, they continued. So I'm a huge fan of the way it's grown, but this one just doesn't tickle me whatsoever. No. And I think the crazy thing for me is Calderwood was the number one contender. She had won a fight against Andrea Lee. Mm-hmm. She was set to fight Shevchenko. Then Shevchenko couldn't fight, so she took a fight against Jennifer Maia, lost it, and lost that. She should have just sat, waited for that chance because that was her chance.
A chance that she didn't deserve by her record. So
she lost to Katlyn Chookagian.
Yeah,
thank you, mate. And then beat Andrea Lee, and then was on set for a title shot, and then took a Jennifer Maia fight and lost by armbar, and it's crazy for me. But if I was to pick this fight, it would be decision, and I would pick Calderwood, to be honest. I think she's a bit more active than Jessica Ai, sorry.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Yeah. Why not? Let's do that.
Let's do that. I'm more interested, I think, will be the next fight. I think we've got guys coming in here with a point to prove. Lesser known. We've got Otman Azaitar. Otman Azaitar.
Yeah.
And Matt Frivola.
From Morocco. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a great... Otman he's a badass. His last fight, who did he fight? He fought
Worthy.
Yes, they were in a clinch, and it was just ugly, dirty boxing, and he beat him down, and that shows the power. And I think most of his wins come by knockout. So all day long, I'm picking Otman by knockout in this one.
Yeah, he's 13-0, I think, and whilst not a UFC seasoned fighter, sometimes you just look at someone and go, "This guy is mean. This guy hurts people."
Yeah.
And Matt Frivola, a little bit less experienced, has been in UFC a bit more. He had the draw with Vanada, and most recently he fought Luis Pena, the Sideshow Bob.
Yes, that's a good scalp though. That's a good scalp.
Yeah, it is, because he is in that Chiesa mold of tricky, but he fancies himself more as a striker. But Frivola to beat him, I thought, okay, that's interesting. He's got something about him, and this is one of those fights that I'm a little bit torn on. So I'm going to let you make your pick first. Now we don't have to
Yeah.
bet on all of them because then we've got a 12 fight accumulator that gets a bit messy.
Then we'll be rich. This is guaranteed. This is McGregor money. We'll
this
be rich.
podcast
Do you not understand? This is how betting works.
It would blow up if that was the case, But right, what are you feeling?
So yeah, Ottoman, I just think he's got that special power. Some people have it, and I think if you have 15 minutes and you've only got to touch somebody once, then I think Frivola, the steamroller Frivola, has got to avoid that for 15 minutes. I imagine he's going to try and take him down on the ground, but yeah, I think Ottoman for me will finish. I don't know what round, but I will go for the KO.
Okay, finish. I'm also going to pick our friend Ottoman, but I'm just going to pick him to win. I'm not going to get it fancy, which is in the spirit of this podcast because there's a disclaimer at the end that encourages responsibility. So I'm trying to be responsible in these bets.
You're gun shy now. This is what's happened. Two beatings. And,
once bitten, twice as shy, as a great man once said. R.I.P. George Michael. So next, we've got the fight that really does make me feel sad. We've got Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas last year, I feel like, won the hearts of all MMA fans. Never seen anyone so happy and smiley after fights and so polite and just she lights up a room. I've spent.
She does light up a room.
She
mate.
does.
You say it exactly right.
Spent £22 on one of these Instagrammer style backlights so that I can look pretty on video. But if I just had Amanda Ribas in the room, I wouldn't need it.
It's true. True. She is a star. She took out the rising star or the once favorite Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah.
Round one arm, but she's just fun. She's fun, but she's up against Marina Rodriguez, who is a beast. She's very, very difficult to beat. Only lost to Carla Esparza, who is just
Esparza'd.
Yeah, Esparza'd, which is one of the worst adjectives in MMA because it's one of the dullest things to watch on the planet. But Ribas, I'm hoping beyond all things that she continues to shine, and I'm going to back her for that. I'm going to send that positive energy. I'm doing it, mate, and even going to add the submission on there. I think Ribas by submission.
Well, I've gotten my notes, and I make notes because I'm a professional. I've got this is a classic striker versus grappler sort of
look
battle,
at this,
because Rodriguez is all limbs, right, and she wants to use those to cut you and put you down. And Ribas, she won a dodgy kickboxing fight against Mackenzie Dern, but held her own on the ground and has subbed a lot of people outside of that. So Ribas' best chance to win is by submission. I just don't think she's going to get there. So I am actually going to opt out of betting in this fight because I can't.
What is going on?
I can't bet against my girl.
I might have to adjust my bets because I'm making it too difficult for myself.
You're shooting for the stars. Absolutely.
I am, aren't I?
The key of this.
We'll refresh at the end. I might adjust a couple of the things, but that's fine. So you're going to go Rodriguez, yeah? Oh, you're not even betting.
I'm not. I'm opting out. This one. I'm a conscientious objector.
Yeah.
So I don't want Amanda Ribas to get hurt.
I was all the way through this podcast. I've been wondering what that thing is behind you. I now realize it's a fence that you sit on after you've finished editing, right? That's just what you do. You just perch yourself on top of it.
Listen, I've already accused 2 fighters here that it shouldn't be in the UFC. I'm not sitting on fences. There's a good chance by 6 degrees of separation, someone that knows Jojo Calderwood is going to tell her I was mugging her off on this podcast. So
I just happened to be friends with her boyfriend, Big John Wood from Syndicate MMA. So I'll drop him a little message after this.
And I've always been a fan. It's totally fine. I gotta add another disclaimer: no fences were hurt in the making of this show under my massive girth. Okay, so you've put Ribas in by submission, and I love that. I appreciate that, and I hope that's what happens. But it is what it is.
Come on, Ribas.
Next, we've got oh my god, Nasrat Hakparast versus Arman Sarukian.
Sarukian.
Jeez, it's a good thing that you've been through the training on these names because I am just going to butcher them.
You nailed them, mate. Smashed it. I love both these fighters as well. I love both these fighters.
Nasrat, he's the
Um,
guy from. He usually trains at TriStar, but probably can't right now. I think that's what I've picked up from watching. And
he's
Arman,
based in Germany, yeah. So he's
yeah,
over there. He's had some really good wins. Mark Diakhese being one of them, and that was a fight when Mark Diakhese had a lot of shine coming in, doing all his spinning kicks, and he just he out muscled, out wrestled him. Only lost to Drew Dober in his last 4 or 5 fights.
yeah.
And that Alex Munoz fight was a decent victory as well, back in August as well. So he's great, but Arman is something special. If you look what
Yeah.
he did to Davi Ramos, if you look at how he shut down the grappling of one of the most decorated grapplers in mixed martial arts, I mean, Davi is superb. It's everywhere. A killer on the ground though, and Arman just didn't let him have an inch. And that for me, the only loss he's got is Islam Makhachev, and
No one's holding
that's
that against you.
exactly.
And he went the distance with him as well.
The distance, best of the best out there. He's for me one of the most difficult puzzles in MMA. But Arman, I think he's got everything. I think he looks great on the feet. His grappling, his defensive grappling is superb, and I think he's just going to be too much for Nasrat. So, and I think he'll finish him as well. Nasrat has a habit of getting hit, and this guy is a serious striker.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Arman by KO.
I'm going Arman as well to win. You know what? No, I'm so confident. I'm going to go KO. I'm going to join you. Arman by KO because he is.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah. No, here I picked something. I went Chandler to win. Yeah, Conor. I'm really out in the fence here with my Conor McGregor to stop the fight. I just said the F word. I want to apologize to Apple because I don't know how closely their bots look into my language, but I've submitted it as a clean podcast, and it hasn't been, but it's slipping through the net. It's totally fine. So if anybody rats me out to iTunes, I will find you.
But you have that little clause in, because I've got Irish family as well that go down to Kells Bay and all the kids run around saying feck. And that's not a swear word.
I
That's
say
not a swear word.
I say it the right way though.
Okay.
Yeah, I go all in with that you. Next fight, I'm actually really looking forward to. So Brad Tavares, who is another one of the sort of fallen in that gatekeeper position, and then Antonio Carlos Jr., who I think came to MMA a little bit later, but a super proficient BJJ. I think 80% of his wins are by submission. But he's coming off 2 losses. And so Tavares has obviously lost twice, one being to Izzy, which is, looking back on it, you go, well, that's not bad. It doesn't mean anything terrible. And then to the rising
decision
star,
as well, there.
Exactly. And then rising star Edmund Shabazian, who, whilst he lost his last fight, at that point, he was looking like he was going to be the next big thing. So 2 tough fights. He is that measuring stick. And this could be the fight that gets him back on track on his own path as opposed to being part of someone else's story. So what are your thoughts for this fight?
Yeah, no, I think they're obviously both been there a long time. They're both on losing streaks at the minute. So I think it's important. And I think Tavares, if you look at the other losses on his record, it's Yoel Romero, Tim Boach, and Robert Whittaker in his last however many fights. And look at that pedigree that he's in against there. And I think it'll be a decision for Tavares. Carlos Jr., though, do you remember he was a heavyweight? He started his UFC career as a heavyweight on the Brazilian Tough show.
Yes, yeah.
And he won that, and now he's down at middleweight. So you look at just physically how he's changed, and he's tough. He's got that grit. He's got that skill set, but I think Tavares will just edge it.
Yeah, I originally was going to opt out of this fight, but since you've bullied me, I'm going to go Tavares to win. I'm not going to say how. I'm just going to say to win.
Yeah.
Are you going to? Okay. You're going to join me on that one?
I'll join you just to win. That's fine. Just to win. This makes it easier.
See, don't you feel good about it?
Yeah, I don't bet, mate. So it's an interest. I thought you had to pick the other bits. No. Fine.
I would never. There's no bullying or peer pressure vibes in this show. I'm very adamant about not getting cancelled. So if I could be, and also as soon as you throw gambling in, you're already on a line of this guy is encouraging bad behavior. So if I'm here bullying guests into putting bets on, I don't want that used against me.
Can you imagine in a year's time when I'm like on the streets and they go, "What happened?" and it's this huge gambling journey that I've been on since this moment. But no, I will be handling my life responsibly. Thank you.
It's like, this is your last big appearance. It's just downhill after this. Next, Sarah McMahon and Juliana Pena. I have a very definite thought about how this fight's going to go. Have I led the last couple? Shall I let you lead with this one?
No, you go.
No, you're the guest, Brian. I'll let you go.
Well, this is one that I sort of am least buoyed by as far as this is a matchup, because I think Sarah McMahon is just going to wrestle Julia Pena, and I think that's the way it's going to go. I'm in fact, that's the only way I can see it really going, which is not giving enough respect to Pena. They're 9 and 8 as far as respective rankings, but McMahon's just got that horrible, and she's so strong. She is so strong as a grappler. So I think it's going to be a dull one. I think it's going to be one where you go grab your snacks and you recharge and come back and see who's got their hand raised. But I can only see McMahon winning this one.
Yeah, my only note I made on this one is that it's a shame for Sarah McMahon that she can't get sponsorships anymore, because she could have made a fortune by putting a brand on her back for this fight. Because all we're going to see is her holding Juliana Pena down and just hammer fisting her. So I feel really good about this one. McMahon to win.
Yeah, I'm confident with that as well. I think that's it. So just to win, to win.
Because there's as much chance that it'll go the distance and be super boring as that Juliana Pena just taps the strikes or gets head and arm choked, which is also likely just from flailing defense.
These arms coming up, just praying for it to stop.
Yeah. And then the next few fights, lesser known. I've done some research. I'm really actually excited about the next fight. Marcin,
this bottom half of the card,
Brachinio.
just the bottom four are some of the most exciting fights on this card.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
And guys who are going to be there, who are just going to be really happy to be getting flown out to Abu Dhabi to fight, like taking it all in. A Conor
on
card.
the McGregor card.
Yeah, unreal. So I'm happy for these guys. And Marcin Prachnio versus Khalil Roundtree. My thought in this one is mostly looking at Prachnio's last fight. Big Polish guy. So you look at him and go, okay, this is going to be violent. Mike Rodriguez, who beat him last. Slow Mike Rodriguez, I think his nickname is just a lesser version of Khalil Roundtree. And he stopped them. So I think, okay, cut and dry, Khalil Roundtree to win this fight.
Yeah, he leaves himself open, Marcin. The other thing you got with Khalil is those killer leg kicks. Yeah. You look at that, he beat Gokhan Saki and out Gokhan Saki, and that's something. So for me, I think he's going to, beat up those legs, and then the overhand's coming at some point. I think Marcin just gets, he's daunting, he's tough, but he just gets hit too much, and he can't take those shots, not in this weight class. So I see it pretty decisively as a Khalil KO.
KO, okay. The bold. I'm being born again and picking to win, but all of these are with a caveat that when we go to put the bets on, if the odds to win are really crap, I might revise some of these. So Khalil is one that I'm very much like, my trouser leg is caught on the fence of going for the KO. So I'm going to just /KO. But yeah, Khalil Roundtree, like Eric Anders, I don't think has walked the same since he fought Khalil Roundtree. Pretty savage. So the next fight, we've got Mahmoud Maradov versus Andrew Sanchez. Andrew Sanchez, who I remember from the Ultimate Fighter season, where I think he actually fought Khalil Roundtree in the finals of, which was the Joanna and Claudia season. That was probably one of the best.
Wow.
That was awesome because they hated each other. Like, oh my God, them getting in the. I think Dana White says he's never been hurt more in stare downs than between Claudia Gadelha and Joanna Jędrzejczyk, because they'd be like digging their nails into him and kicking, and they're trying to get past. And he said he got more roughed up by them than he ever did before.
I witnessed Claudia Gadelha eating chicken wings at a UFC, and I have never seen anything as primal in my life. Like, she's a beautiful, wonderful, very athletic lady, but she was holding these wings like if anyone came within striking distance, they were likely to get some sort of sauce in their eye or something, because it was magnificent to watch. I love watching people eat, and she was she was all about the wing.
You love watching people eat. Does this see if us having a look at your internet history?
No, mate. I'm very open about it. I'm a foodie, and a lady that likes to eat. That's a big tick for me.
That is a good thing. Yeah, I don't like people that are conscious of themselves while they eat.
No,
it's like
this is it.
You turn everything off when you're eating. Like, I've been told I have a really good face to watch when eating because I get so excited about it that I'm like, every bite, like big wide eye, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating this. Especially desserts. Like the clips of where you give a child a piece of lemon.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what I look like every time I eat. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Taste sensation. So let me just consult my notes on this one. Because Sanchez is that sort of old school wrestling base, big power striking. He did absolutely level Turman in the last fight.
But he was losing that round. It was in the first round. So they're both wrestlers, and they were slugging it out. It's keeping on the feet, as happens with wrestlers when they face each other. Mm-hmm. And he was losing. Then he caught him with an overhand right, and then he thought, well, that worked. So he threw another overhand right. That worked again, and then he threw a third one, which floored him.
1-2, 1-2, yeah.
1-2, 1-2, and it was beautiful from one side of the cage to the other. But his mullet was getting smashed. Before that was a one that he turned around, and I think with Muradov, he is a very good striker, very very powerful, strong, and I think Sanchez will get caught. I think he'll get finished in this one as well.
Yeah, and Mahmoud hasn't. It's not like he hasn't fought people that want to take him down. He's just not there for it. And Di Chirico is the one I look at now and think that was a great win.
Yeah, and Wendell Oliveira as well. He's fought him as well.
Yeah, so I feel pretty good about Mahmoud for the win. Do you want to go as far as, say, a stoppage? Or
no, I'll go the win then. Listen, I'm going to go the win. I think, Sanchez is tough, so he's going to be hard to finish. And I'll just go the win.
No worries. I'm not sure if the microphone picked it up, but my stomach just made an incredible noise, as if it is also food. Saying it's like, here. What was all that talk about food again? What are we saying? Then we got Nick Lentz versus Evloev, who is a guy I really enjoyed going back and watching a lot of his stuff. I feel like they've definitely positioned this to build him off of Nick Lentz. And Nick Lentz, if you look back, the last couple of fights, lost to Arnold Allen, no shame in that. Charles Oliveira, which was the second time he'd lost to Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
And then he's had a couple of decent wins, like the Will Brooks one. You look back at and you go, well, that was a pretty decent win. Gray Maynard, at a time when Gray Maynard probably shouldn't have been back in the UFC. So Nick Lentz, I go, okay, I know what he's going to do. I know what he's capable of. And then you've got Evloev, who's just on an absolute spree.
Yeah, he's spectacular. And it was supposed to be Mike Grundy fighting Nick Lentz. And that was Evloev's last opponent, and that was on Fight Island. And Grundy is phenomenal, a Commonwealth medalist for wrestling for Britain. And he's one of his favorite moves is the das, and he put Evloev in that das, and he thought that's it, game over. And even Grundy thought that's game over. Evloev was so composed and did absolutely everything perfect. If you watch that back, if you are teaching how to escape from that move, and not just that move, but somebody who can. It's his favorite move. Take that. You watch how he escaped from that and twisted and turned out. And that, for me, won him the fight. I felt like he almost broke Grundy mentally by being able to get out of that. Yeah. It's old school, new school. And I think Evloev is just, I think he's leagues ahead of Lentz as far as what weapons he's got.
He's got that Rory McDonald vibe that I really like in a fighter. That, he just looks like he's got it together. And I can't recall that, but to hear you talk about it, I'm like, I'm wrapped up in it. Like, I'm
watch it back.
Even more
it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's a first round one, and when Grundy locks it up, everybody in the UK, everyone who knows Grundy, goes, done. And then because he doesn't panic, and like it's how slowly he escapes. He does every section of that escape as you have to do it to get out, and he does it so slowly, and then he's out. And then from that point on, he's phenomenal. So I think Evloev, will be too much. I think his striking's too much and his movement's too much for Lentz. And Lentz is one of these fighters that he's tough, but he's been finished a fair few times. So I think that will open up a finish for Evloev. I don't know how, but I'm going to go Evloev by finish.
Yeah. Because with this being the second fight on the card, this is where it actually gets into the real like danger zone, because your bet could be up before you even get onto the main card. So okay, I'm also going to pick Evloev to finish, but I'm going to do /win just to see what the odds differences are, because I want a compelling bet, but I can't take too many risks. And last fight on the card, Albazi versus Zalgas
Zhumagulov.
Yep, it definitely is.
Kazakhstan's,
who lost his last fight, but before that, on a good streak, beat Ali Bagotinov, who has fought some absolute standouts. I think he fought DJ and he fought Benavidez in the UFC.
Yeah, he's also he's victim to the helicopter armbar by Diego Brandao in Fight Nights Global, which is
I was actually weirdly following Brandao's exploit because he had an absolute meltdown in one of his fights where he jumped out of the cage and then came back. Brandao is an absolute maniac. But
I've actually spent some time with Brandao, and he is absolutely off the wall, mate. Absolutely wild man of MMA.
Yeah, that's
badass though. Badass.
Yeah. But let me see. Okay, right. So, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Listen, Amir Albazi is so good, and he got the opportunity last time. I've forgotten who he flew in to fight, but he basically got the call. Had to, as soon as he put the phone down, had to literally go straight into quarantine and then come out. So he had no camp for that fight. But he is so good. His wrestling, his jiu-jitsu. You look at the submissions he's got. You watch that Malcolm Gordon fight, the way he sets that up as well. I just think he's another level. And the fact that he's from London Shoot Fighters, he's got like Alfie Davis around him, Michael Venom Page, Carlos Vermola, all those sort of fighters who are superb training partners. You think about the killers you got on the mat there. I think he took that opportunity against Malcolm Gordon, and now he's got a full camp. I think he'll absolutely murk. The Kazakhstan
I'm just looking through the records, and Albazi is a finisher, and Zalgas
and the
goes
submissions.
To decision.
Yeah, and he's a wrestling background. This is the thing. He's based in the UK. I'm not sure where he's actually from. Is it Tehran? He's got a Swedish flag on his thing, but I think his heritage is like literally his mum and dad escaped a war-torn country, took him to London, and when he was 15 or 16, he decided to stay with his brother rather than follow his mum and dad traveling, which is again, that's that mindset. You've got these people that have come from those sort of backgrounds, and he's got the skills as well. He's one of these ones that he's the first fight of the night, but I bet you we're talking about it still tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm hoping we're talking about our tremendous win, because I'm not sure we've only picked against each other on the McGregor fight, and I didn't bet on that one. So yeah, we're pretty similar all the way through. So it'll be imagine that
go on.
We go.
Take me there.
So we've got matching bets all the way through. I think 11 fights in a row. We're both in it. We've got a massive pot to play for. We get to the main event, the most anticipated fight, potentially in the last 7 or 8 months.
We'll say in history. Let's say in history. Let's build this moment in history.
In history.
Yeah.
But we've picked against each other. Two brothers going on divergent paths.
We're definitely FaceTiming when that happens. If that happens,
my God,
we're watching that together. We're recording that over Zoom. We've got to. Whatever state we're in.
We'll Twitch it. That could be pretty unbelievable. So what we'll do now, for the benefit of everyone at home, is you will see us return to the screen or in your ears in about 3 seconds, but we'll make the bets and we'll come back with what our respective odds are. So speak to you in 1, 2, 3. So we're definitely back. I definitely didn't make the wrong bet again, and I definitely didn't have to redo it. So my actual bet, Albazi to win, Evloev to win, Muhammad Muradov to win, Khalil Roundtree to win, Sarah McMahon to win, Brad Tavares to win, Sarkookian to win, Otman Azatar to win, Michael Chandler to win, and then Conor McGregor to stop the fight for £5 gives me a potential return.
What's the odds? What's it say?
The odds are basically 101 to 1. So I get £552 if that comes through. That's fine. But that's
a good amount. That's a good amount.
Considering it's 10 fights, that feels like each bet. I've basically picked the favorite in there, and the only variable being Conor to actually stop the fight. So it's not the glory. It's not the glory of Brian's bet. Amir Albazi, right, to stop the fight. Albazi, Sarkookian to stop the fight. Roundtree to stop the fight. Rebus to stop the fight. Azatar to stop the fight. And Evloev to win. Tavares to win. Calderwood to win. Sarah McMahon to win. Chandler to win. And Dustin Poirier to win. For a £5 bet.
Okay, tell me, mate. Tell me. Do you need drum rolls? Do you need anything? I'm sweating here. I quite literally have sweaty palms. How rich am I going to be Sunday morning? What's happening?
The return you'll get on Sunday morning when this bet definitely comes in is £57,000 and 110.
I've already won it.
I think you should spend it already, like you have it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Awesome.
So there we go. Like
57K. Listen.
As with all bets, we could tell each other, like, oh my, I think that's not the most unrealistic eventuality. Like, I played it safe, but I still picked 10 outcomes, which is tough. You've gone for 11 because you obviously bet on Rebus, which I appreciate, but just couldn't bring myself to do. So it's in the hands of the fighters now. We've done our bit.
Could you send me your address? Just so I know where you live. Could you just send me some sort of location thing?
I'm in between addresses right now. And
looks like you're in Japan by the backdrop, but that's fine.
I'll be offline for parts of Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. But you can definitely trust me. When have I ever not given you £57,500?
Well, there was that one time. Come on. There was that one time.
You can't hold that against me, you know.
That's true. That's true.
Who knew that was going to fall through? You know, I was new to the property market, but this is gambling. I know all about this. I've got the app and everything. But right, so there we go. That's exciting times ahead. So my measly 550 quid or whatever it is, I don't even care about that anymore. I'm in it for you.
Listen, and that lead. Imagine that website you've built, the whole Hall of Fame page. You only need one picture in it. There's no one beating that.
Yeah,
that's
it. Yeah. It's like, I've just got to stop the podcast after this, you know. Bryan Lacey becomes the gambling expert for all MMA. Was it Jimmy the Greek for MMA? That'll be you. But as we were putting those bets together, I didn't expect to see that. So that is very intriguing.
Yeah, unlikely is another adjective. There you go.
We've just raised the stakes. So Conor and Dustin, Michael, Dan, everyone else, if Jojo and Jessica I could actually put on a good fight, then this is revolutionary. So, mate, I will let you go back to normal life. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I really hope come Sunday we're having a very difficult conversation about transfer of funds. Yeah. But I can pay you in my new cryptocurrency. It's definitely going to take off. But, mate, this has been great. I will speak to you very soon. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Take care, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye.